So, hi, we're here with one of my clients, Barbara, who's very kindly agreed to share her thoughts on what it's like working with me. So thank you very much, Barbara. So she'll testify the fact we haven't planned this. She doesn't know what I'm going to ask her, so it's just going to flow.
No
and
idea.
I think that's really important, because if you're going to consider working with me, you need to know that people that are sharing their journey with me are open and honest, and that's really important because everybody's journey is unique. So first thing, Barbara, currently you're in the Flourish program with me, so how's it going for you?
Very well. After a tentative start, I would say, but I've always had, as you know, confidence in your abilities as a physio, but more than that. And it's made me appreciate more about my pain, more about myself, how I look at it, and the fact that yes, I can do these things that I thought I wouldn't be able to. I thought um, that I was going to have real difficulties with my back, even though the pain wasn't like it was before when I was in my 30s, when I had disc problems. It wasn't like that. But I really thought that was going to be a huge problem. And you've shown me that that's not the problem that I thought it was going to be.
What do you mean by tentative start?
I suppose it's not, I suppose not knowing, I think, was what was going to come.
Yeah.
But I was open to that, open to whatever we were going to discuss, because I knew that going forward, I would get it, which I have totally.
Good. I think it's really important to be honest about those things. So Barbara's mentioned, as you hear, she's got back pain, and we were talking about the fact that that back pain isn't always the only thing that's going on in your body. Because I know some people who watch this and go, well, I've got, knee pain and hip pain and shoulder pain. So, is it going to work for them? Barbara won't mind me telling you she's had knee pain and had surgery. So this is not, it's not her only back pain's not the only thing you're here with me, is it? Are you, what would you say to somebody who's maybe watching that and thinking, well, I've got pain in other joints and other problems? What would you say to that?
Well, for myself, I looked at those sort of individually. I mean, it was quite a while ago, because I've known Jenny for quite a long time, that I tried to make contact with Jenny with regard to, I was in a really rocky place with my knees, arthritic knees. I was getting to the point where I thought I was going to end up in a wheelchair. And I reached out and made contact with you, and you sent me some exercises, and then eventually that progressed to doing exercises on Zoom. And I've forgotten the point of your question.
I was just saying, what would you say to other people who may be looking at this and thinking it's too difficult to, because they've got other things going on as well as back pain?
It's not too difficult to do, because the strength I got from doing those initial exercises on Zoom, and how long we're talking ago now, 2 years probably.
Oh yeah.
With the knees, and the fact that you've always said to me, there is always another way you can exercise. There is always a different way of tackling something that you're finding difficult. And yeah, the knees were very restrictive, but and I keep saying this to people, but there are ways that you can improve that. And I proved it to myself over and over, that I was walking, that I wasn't assigned a wheelchair with my name on, that I could do it. And I did. And people used to say, well, why are you walking so funny? And I said, because it's the best way I can walk, because of how my knees are. I'm waiting to have them operated on. And like you say, I had them both done last year. And then this back pain came out of that. Probably it had been there for a while, but because the knee pain had taken over, I wasn't concentrating on my back, and I wasn't walking properly. And so I put it down to that, really. But as time went on, I had this numbness in my feet going on for quite a long time. And I was getting concerned again that I wouldn't be able to balance properly. So eventually I asked for a scan, because I'd had other scans and nothing had been said to me other than, well, it's S1. And I'm thinking, well, what does that mean exactly? How do I tackle this? What do I do? How can I improve it? And that was my point, to the doctors. Well, how can I improve how I am? Can I do something to help myself? Which I didn't really get very. They were up for it, saying, well, I'm sure that you can, but they didn't know the answers. And I thought, well, I do know a woman that does.
So
And it's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I thank you. And I had this conversation as well earlier with Rosie. So some people might be looking at this and thinking, well, how come, you're starting to see Jenny after all this time? Well, partly Barbara's explained that there's been different things happening. It isn't just the same thing, and the back pain's a more recent issue. But that's part of the journey, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I'm really, and I'm sure Barbara will testament to this, that it isn't just about getting you to the point where you can just manage in your life. It's about taking you as far as you possibly can, beyond where you probably perceived you could get, and really testing the waters and thinking, okay, well, we can do this now, and you feel better. What else could we do? Would you say that that's part of your journey too?
Definitely. Very definitely. Yeah, very, very definitely.
Barbara, tell them what you're doing now. Where do you exercise now? So bear in mind, Barbara's had knee surgery and she's got back problems. What do you enjoy doing 3 times a week? Where are you at?
Going to the gym.
Are you doing lifting weights and pushing weights in that gym?
Yes.
Yes.
I am.
Good.
Yeah, because something I didn't believe that I could do without damaging myself, I guess. Yeah. Even though Jenny was telling me, but the spine is strong and you can't really be sensible, you can't really damage it. And so I did believe that. Once I was told it was okay, I guess I got permission, if you like, because I'm not a physio, obviously. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I mean, yes, I've looked at a lot of things online and people give you all different sorts of things to do and they seem to conflict and you think, well, that can't be right, surely. And technique is the important thing, because if you don't have the technique, you're wasting your time. So you need someone who can teach you that good technique. And I would say that person is Jenny.
Oh, thank you. And I think good technique makes you feel safe, but it also gives you better results, doesn't it? Quicker. For you, we talked about the fact that and we've adapted, haven't we? So part of the journey of spending time and having a longer program rather than one quick fix, which I don't do, is the fact that we've had to adapt as we've gone along. So Barbara, we don't do exercise on the floor. We can easily, because lots of people say to me, oh, I can't get on the mat. That's not a problem. We can work around it. And each of you in this group have got totally different plans. We've talked about that with Rosie as well. You're not doing the same as the other 2 ladies that I'm currently working with at all, because you're unique in what you want, which is Barbara's goal is walking and walking more and walking upright. So a couple of things that we've worked on is the fact that I gave Barbara some exercise to do that I knew would be challenging, because if they're not challenging, you don't improve and you don't get a positive experience. And avoiding something isn't a solution, but these have been more challenging, and you have tried them, haven't you? And I've insisted she tries them, which I always do. And because of the knee, it's not bending as much yet as it should do, because it's still fairly early days. I've adapted it and we're doing some different stuff in the gym, and you've been doing that, haven't you? And you love it. And this is interesting because it was another physio who said maybe the particular exercise I've given you shouldn't be doing. And that's not disrespecting any of my colleagues. No. It's just because their experience and knowledge is different to mine. And you're doing some new exercises. So there's always a way around, isn't there? Always a way around.
Always a way around. And it's not, I would say my own experience is it's not difficult.
No. Good.
Truthfully, really not difficult.
Now, we've talked about the fact that you've got individualized exercise and plans and treatment, but it isn't always about the exercises. In fact, I didn't give anyone exercises for quite a while, did I? When you first started, which was a bit of a shock to all of them. And for you, there's a big journey beyond, we're doing a lot about learning about pain, aren't we? We're doing a lot of learning about how we perceive ourselves, about our beliefs, about how much action we can take. And how's that been, that sort of learning new things, exploring ideas, challenging beliefs? What's that been like for you?
Very good. It is. I guess I came to it with an open mind. And so I'm willing to test these things out for myself. And I just found it very, some of it very enlightening, some things that I'd not thought about at all, some things that I had acknowledged. But just the journey was, and still is, continues to be a really good thing. And the fact that don't concentrate on exercise, first off, you might think that's a bit weird. And yes,
What's this physio not giving out exercise? What's wrong with her?
but it's appreciating where your thoughts come from, how you are, I should say, where you are now, how did you get there mentally?
Yeah.
And it changes that perception of your mental attitude towards the pain.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at it in different ways. It's been very good, very enlightening.
Oh, that's nice. And I'm really big on explaining why each of you, about pain as a whole, but why each of you maybe experience particular. So we've talked a lot about why your back might hurt when you're stood upright when you're walking, and we're working on that, aren't we? So what I really try to do is help you as individuals understand your own personal circumstances better, because it's important to feel that you're in control, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, very much so. Yes. You need to know what's going to work best for you. And that's where I think that's where the trust comes in, because you have experience that, I mean, I've not seen a great many physios in my time, but those that I've come across have not had your experience. And I would say probably are not as open-minded. And again, I'm not particularly criticizing. It's like a GP. You go to the GP, and depending on which GP you see, a lot of the time depends on that GP's experiences.
Yeah.
And so you get very different scenarios depending which GP you go to. The same with physios.
Yeah, it is. It is a very human experience, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
And I think it's very individual. What's it like being in a small group with others who are traveling this journey with you? What's that like?
Yeah, that is brilliant too, because you get to see how others are feeling and their perspective on it as well, and see how they change over the course of the weeks, and that they come to trust things that they didn't think they would be able to do, but they now can. And their attitude towards it, and the actual inner glow that comes out of them because of that. They feel more confident, and they're getting on with it basically, and they're loving it.
It's nice, isn't it? It's like we've got our little personal cheer squad, isn't it?
It is, yeah, because we're all very much, there for each other. We want each other to do well, and I think that does spur you on as well. Yeah.
It isn't all highs, is it? There are times where it's not easy, is it? It takes commitment. I don't want anyone to think that they start here and they just keep getting better, because it's not like that, is there? There are times where each of you come in the group and go, this is not working. I mean, I won't lie, that conversation does happen. I don't want people to pretend it is. So what's it like when you come to that, and how do you feel about how we tackle it?
The one that happened to me, we were looking at place mentally where you want to be.
Yeah.
And that was hard.
Yeah. Okay, Barbara.
Just remembering time, brings it back, because I couldn't visualize the place where I wanted to be. But now I can.
Do you know, Barbara, thank you. That's really open and honest with you, because I'm telling you now, there'll be loads of people who watch this connect with that, because I see it every single day of my life. People have lost who they are. They don't have any, they don't think there's anything possible. They don't think there's any light at the end of the tunnel. And it's so hard for me to watch and see that. And it's so, I really appreciate you being honest, because that's what people need to hear. I don't want people to think this is just get on and it's woohoo all the way, because it's not.
It's not a bed of roses. I'll
No,
put it that
no,
way. And
no.
you do have to challenge yourself and your beliefs.
Yeah.
I would say that's really important. It is what you believe in and how you can change those beliefs from your own experience that you will get, I'm sure, if you commit to do this.
And it's nice, isn't it? Because we're very goal focused, aren't we? We're
Yeah.
very much about what would you like to achieve? And that was hard for all of you, I think, when I first
Yeah.
said, what would you like to do? What do you mean, what would you like to do? What do you mean? I just want to be out of pain. Yeah, but what would you like to do? And I think because so many people put up with pain for so long, they've lost that sense of, is it possible for me? So I am very driven towards you working towards something that's really important to me, and that changes as it goes along, doesn't it? Because when you've had one
Yes.
really good experience and you tackle one thing and you go, I've done this, you're suddenly going,
Mm.
oh, well, actually, what else could I do?
Yeah.
And that's really important. That's why we progress through that. I really appreciate that. So Barbara, if someone's watching this now and they're having the thought in their head, is this for me? Can I trust it? Maybe maybe I'm too old, too much pain. I've got scans that tell me that it's not possible. All the stories that people are told. What would you say to them if they're watching this now and they're thinking about it but they're not sure? What would you say to them?
I think what I've said in the past, the only thing you've got to lose is your pain.
I love that.
I do, honestly, because I can't explain it any better than that, really.
I think it's wonderful.
Not necessarily that you're not feeling it all the time, but there will be times when you don't think about it and you get on with your life. And through whatever exercise you might do, it might improve it. It has for me, certainly. It nearly did improve my knee pain, and that was chronic. But it made it so that I could get out and I could do a bit of walking. It wasn't a great deal, but considering where I started, where I could barely stand, and that was really uncomfortable. I did progress that I could walk, and people commented on it. Well, you're managing though, aren't you? And yeah, I guess I wasn't only managing, but there was going to be an end to that. And I knew that once I'd had the surgery, I would be focused on getting the movement back in my knees and getting on with it. And then having that sort of taken away with the back pain, thinking, no, not another pain, because I'd lived with pain for 5 years plus. And so I can understand people who've had pain for a long time thinking, well, this is no good for me. But trust is what I would say. Trust.
Oh, thank you.
It can make such a difference.
And it has done. You're doing amazingly well.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see how much more you managed to do. And I think talking about that, as you brought it up, people often say to me, I've got arthritic knees, there's nothing you can do. There is, because you've got to bear in mind that even if you are that person watching this who's going to have surgery, you do need to be prepared for it, and you might have a wait. So it prepares you for the best physical health you can be in and quality of life, and it's so much easier afterwards when you're familiar with it and your muscles are already as strong as they could be.
Yeah, I can endorse that 100%. I'm sure it made a lot of difference to me, and mentally as well, because when I got my first knee done, and I was just amazed at how strong that leg was. And it really does spur you on. You're thinking, yes, I can get my life back. I am going to be able to do these things. So,
and you are.
And I am. Yeah.
Gym and walking.
I know.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for sharing and being so open and honest with everybody. I know that people will be watching will really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
I hope so. I hope both of us managed to change some people's lives for the better.
We're determined to. Thank you.
Okay.